Warning, this show may contain strong language, but here we go.
Alright, troops. Hello and welcome to That Mental Ginger Show with me, Andy the Mental Ginger. Because if there's one thing worse than being ginger, it's being a ginger with mental health issues. Well, my three faithful followers got another special guest, and it's a very, very famous personality who I'm good friends with, name drop, and that is Lisa McDonald. Lisa, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah. And coming back for a second appearance, you all remember him from the great chats we had about metal music, Reid. Jack, how are you getting on, buddy?
How's it going, mate? I'm back for the moral support.
for who, me or Lisa?
I know. Who even are you?
I'm just here for the crack.
He's here so I have somewhere to hide for the kids. So, as the listeners know, me and Jack first met at college, and Lisa was also part of our little tribe. I say tribe, it was actually me that was the interloper because I came in the second year.
Oh, so you did actually?
Yes, because I'd already done the HNC in a past life. And then
past life.
All
those many years ago.
Back when I was skinny and still a virgin.
Long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
You're the married one now, so
Married and 2 kids, but as far as the boys are concerned, they're test tube babies. But we never done that. I never knackered Alison's back 2 days after marrying her. No. She never went up in hospital because of that.
Did she actually?
Yes.
No.
Yes, she did. She took a seizure.
I don't know if I want to know the details actually.
No.
I'm kind of
the long and short, I won't say you know the gist of how, but I won't say what positions and shit. But
Lovely.
But
I'm so glad we did that disclaimer at the start of the show now.
Yeah, maybe I should have explained.
Every disclaimer should say, "Warning, Alison, you may divorce me at the end of this episode."
Yes, that can be the ones going forward now.
Yeah, that's definitely, if I'm getting the next guys up, it'll definitely be the case. But yeah, what had happened was, since I'm already dug myself into the hole anyway, might as well just go all
I might as well just go in.
So we came back after getting married.
Can I just say that he just nodded there, but go on.
Oh, I'm going straight to
Now you know why I'm here for moral support.
Yeah, because when Alison kicks me out, I'm crashing on his couch. Or his very, very comfy, bigger chair, I have to admit. That chair is
We're
so
3 minutes in and you're already divorced.
Yeah, but in fairness, who gets the kids will be going, "You take him, no, you take him." So yeah, the long story short was, we got back from that. I was meant to be going out and meet one of my pals, and she's like, no, on you go out and meet him. My back's a wee bit sore, but I'm okay. And then next thing you know, she just hit the deck. I mean, luckily I was there behind her. I caught her, and her face went purple. She was foaming at the mouth and everything. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I'm basically getting her down in a recovery position, phoning the ambulance. I'm thinking my wife's dead.
Yeah.
I'm like, seriously, I married her for 2 days and I've killed her.
Yeah.
But then she kind of stirs round, but she can't move at all, which is totally, essentially paralysed.
Yeah.
But what had happened was the pain in her back was so severe that she took a seizure from the pain and passed out.
Jeez.
So she was in hospital. So she was in hospital for a couple of days. And when we got there to the A&E, and I was like, oh, this is a great way to celebrate just being married.
Start off.
And they're like, oh, how long have you been married? I'm like, 2 days. And
Honeymoon in A&E.
And you just seen
Honeymoon in A&E. It sounds like a programme or something.
that's basically that's going to be the sequel podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the worst part was I worked in that hospital at the time, so I knew a lot of the porters as well. So when they were taking her up the stairs, I wasn't allowed to go with them, but I basically said to the guy, "I'm coming with you, like it or not."
Yeah.
He's batting her away, and he's like, "What happened?" And I'm like, she took a seizure in her back, and he was like, "Didn't you tell me you were getting married this week?" I was like, "I got married on Tuesday." And he just looked at me and just did this slow kind of nice head nod. And I
It
went.
is an awkward situation.
Yeah,
what was
that
it?
is completely like.
It was worse like a couple months later when I met one of my pals and they were asking me how she was and I said that she'd been in hospital and what and had the problem with her back and he was like, so when was that? And I was like 2 days after the wedding and his exact words were, fuck Andy, how hard did you pump her?
Oh no!
And I was like, oh my
I don't know
God.
why, right? See when someone actually goes, I pumped her, I cannot cope with the word. Like, what, who came up with that? Who was like, do you know what's a good way of describing it? Pumping. Who did that? Like, who actually did that? Like,
I don't know why you're looking at me.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jack, it was you, wasn't it?
No, we're just like, it must have come from East Kilbride.
It does sound like an East Kilbride
Although,
term.
No, it's
you're
like-
fake Coatbridge.
No, I'm
and
originally-
I'm fake Cumbernauld, so
I'm
I feel
originally
like...
for Airdrie.
Ah.
So yeah, that's definitely a
East
win-horse
Kilbride's
saying.
too posh for that word.
It's definitely a
Nah,
win-horse
East
saying.
Kilbride's basically like Cumbernauld, but the opposite.
We don't
ends.
date, we court.
Right, we've got majorly off topic and I'm pretty sure that I've lost all my savings to my wife.
Yes.
What? So yeah, so how did you get interested in like theatre anyway, Lisa?
It's interesting actually. So I actually started with dancing. I kind of like enjoyed the performance and all that kind of thing. And then it wasn't until I got to high school and we got offered drama. I was like, oh, do you know actually this is like quite a fun subject. So I ended up taking it for my, I don't know what it's called now, but standard grades at the time. Was it nationals or something now? Can't
Well,
remember.
let's ask the teacher, Jack.
Yes, it's nationals.
Nationals,
now.
right.
Nationals. And
So
National 5 is your equivalent to your Intermediate 2, which is
Ooh.
also your equivalent to your credit.
I see. I've no clue. Like literally, I was just like, yeah, I'm going into like standard grades. It was like credit and all that kind of thing. And then
Yeah, I'm off that era, it's okay.
So am I was the same.
and then I ended up doing my higher drama, and it was a particular teacher, Miss Thompson. I'm so thankful for her because she was like, "You're actually really good at this. Like, would you consider doing it out with?" And I thought, "Oh, I don't know. I mean, I enjoy performing, but don't know."
It's a
Like,
slight backhanded compliment though, going, you're actually really good. Like, was she
I-
expecting you to be shit?
I think she was more like, "Oh, you're for Cumbernauld, and you can actually kind of carry a presence on stage," like, you know, that kind of way. And I was like, "All right, cool."
It's better than what I got at my very first college audition when I was 17, and they told me I wasn't getting in. And this is Coatbridge College, you fucking took everybody. And I asked them why I wasn't getting in. They said, "Do you want me to be honest?" And I was like, "Please do." And she went, and I quote, "Your acting is crap, your movement is shit, I advise you not to come back."
Who was that?
This was before Sarah Jane, so this was in 2004.
Oh, so like, I wouldn't have.
This was years back. The irony
Yeah.
was, I went out and got a job, and then they phoned me asking if I wanted to come in and do the HNC, and I told them to stick it.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I've never had. Yeah, like I was quite lucky because I'd applied to go to uni and things like that after school, and I got into UWS. I don't know if the courses maybe changed now. So I got into UWS and that, but when I went for the college audition, I just got such a good vibe that I went, "Do you know, actually, I'll do the HND first and then see how like a degree, you know, like maybe later down the line I'll do a degree or whatever."
Yeah.
So I ended up kind of falling into acting late on in the game. You know, usually people are like performing through when they were 5. I think mine was more so a dancing background, and then I really got into acting probably at like 16. So
What about you, Jack? What age were you when you kind of got into acting? 'Cause I don't.
No, and I was at school when I got into drama because it was we had a school that didn't do drama, and then we basically our school got shut down because it was old as hell, and then we joined up with another school and then combined to make a new school, and the new school offered drama, and I took it on an absolute whim. And after about one period, I realised this is amazing. This beats any other subject.
Aye.
And it was just down to that, and I stayed with it, and I got the drama award in S6. And
Oh, look at you! I'll check you out big time.
I was friends of the drama department. Jack still on the plaque somewhere.
Well, you're not allowed to say your last
Oh,
name,
I'm not
are
allowed
you?
to say my name.
Well, I'll
we'll
need to
bleep
say-
that out.
Yeah, I'll censor your last name.
Yeah, we'll just say Reid. That'll do.
Yes.
Bleep out the second name. So yeah, and I was on the drama award, and then I realised, oh, I want to try it and see, because like I was kind of the mindset of, I don't want to go into a job, I don't want to do anything else right now. Let's just see what happens, and apply for college, and that was it.
Yeah.
So
And then you met me.
Met everyone, and then realised I could be a good teacher, and I get 6 weeks off in summer, so let's go for that.
So what was it like the first year, like when you were all together in college? Because I joined in the second year. Well, I went and seen you in our town, Like, because
You gave me see our town.
I did because I wanted to know what I was getting into.
That's
But because
hilarious.
I don't know why you didn't run a mile.
I know,
then
I would have been
after
like,
that.
although I really enjoyed our town, to be fair, it was something else. Like,
Yeah.
It
Because
was
obviously
interesting. Yeah.
So I knew Peter. I knew Peter
Hi.
from the amateur scene.
Love Peter.
Like,
me and Kaylee are gonna take Peter's play on.
Oh, we'll talk. We'll talk.
We'll
more
talk
about
about
that.
it more later on,
Oh,
sorry,
really?
but
Oh, juicy.
yeah.
Big shout out to
Juicy
Peter
gossip.
Patterson.
Aye.
Juicy gossip. Peter
Um,
Patterson. What a dick.
It's gonna be like, what the fuck, Lisa?
Like, see if he listens to this, I'll be impressed. If anybody more than like 3 people listen to this, I'm usually impressed. That's why
I'm like, oh great, like this is fantastic.
I know when I seen like the first episode of the series like got 16 views, I'm like, I don't even know 16 people.
It's the power of Facebook and all
It's
that.
not
isn't it?
went live yet, but I'm pretty sure the one that we did together has got about 25,000 views.
Oh
already.
no.
Yeah.
I feel like this one will definitely have the most.
Yeah. It's bad when my videos that I do about Thomas the Tank Engine get better views than this.
It's got a very niche audience though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a niche audience, but the fact that I can get like 30 views a day is unreal.
Die hard fans.
Yeah, they're just like me, sad virgins with no life.
I love that you always just insult yourself. You're like, this is what I'm going to say now. I forgot your part and I love it. It's great.
Don't think after calling your audience sad virgins with no life that you're going to get 30 views a day anymore though.
Don't worry, I love them all.
No, this is where he edits and he's like, I'm just going to
yeah.
pretend it never happened. That conversation
Yeah.
didn't
I'll just
happen.
need to keep making reference to it to make it more difficult for you.
It's
to
okay.
edit.
The fact that if any of the Thomas fandom actually listen to this, I just want you to know. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, okay. There's that.
HNC.
Yeah.
So,
That's how I got my HND, just being a twat.
HNC was actually quite a good year. I feel like we were all Waynes is the only way I could describe it, but it was like quite good banter. I actually really enjoyed the course. I feel like you
the
might.
thing I remember.
You're giving me a weird face. You didn't
No,
enjoy it.
no, because like there's certain things about HNC that I don't feel like we can talk about on a podcast.
Oh, never. But like.
Oh, that makes me want to talk about it even more.
No, no.
Oh, no.
HNC was it was
It
a
was
coming of
messy
age
victory,
thing.
yeah.
It was like I'm 18 years old, pubs for the first time.
I
Like
just mind we used to. I do apologise if any like professionals are listening. We used to go to the pub between classes and then we'd come back.
Trust me, listen.
I don't
professionals
remember.
are listening to this.
I don't remember doing any of that.
Aye, of course.
No, but I do remember finishing at 12 on a Friday, going to the Inish at the time.
Oh yeah, I wonder if
Yes.
is the Inish still a thing? I've not
I
been.
think it still is, yeah.
I don't think the Vulcan is.
No, the Vulcan's still there.
I seen the
Is it?
Vulcan had loads of wee benches outside it.
Vulcan's still there.
I thought they were trying
yeah.
to close it down to put houses in there.
Clearly didn't work. There's more alkies than like homeless.
Well, I just remember finishing at 12 on a Friday, going down to the Inish, and like it was cheap pints.
Yeah.
I think it was like £2 a pint.
Aye, so it's even cheaper than it is now.
Yeah, and
because that was like 10 years ago.
yeah, and you could just get absolutely hammered and then make the last bus at 5 to 9. So I'd have a good 5 to 10. So I'd
Oh,
have a good
you got that really
9
long, but what's it, the
201.
201. Oh.
9.5 hours of drinking, and then still make it home for like 11 at night, and then
Your bladder
You know.
must have been fucking wrecked.
I was 18.
Nah, he was totally
you can
fine
handle
now.
it. And then the next
more
day,
me, like,
go to
you
work at
really
9.
need a push.
The next day I would get up and go to work at 9 o'clock.
Ah, nice one.
I mind I used to like start at the baker's and we'd go like a flat party and then I would just walk through the flat party to my work and I would be
Yeah.
still drunk and my manager,
In fact,
sorry Dan, but my manager would be like, are you drunk? And I'm like, maybe. And he'd be like, okay, just go to the kitchen. I'm like, cool. It's totally professional. I'm like,
That's an
"Right."
awesome boss to get.
I think it was more because it was a wee steaming mess and he was like, please don't serve customers like that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So then we went into the second year and I joined the Motley Crew. But,
Yeah.
believe it or not, I know I seemed like I had a massive stick up my ass back then, but that was actually me more loosened up than the first time I went to college. First time I never went
I
to the
don't
pub.
think you came across like that, honestly.
No, because the very first time I went to college in 2008, well, I was like, I didn't go to the pubs at end. I just studied and swatted and studied and swatted. And then when I went back at that time, I realised I could actually do this half-assed and still do really well.
Yeah.
What? And I thought, but not to say I did, because it's just me. What? Because I love performing so much, it was like 110% all the time. I just wanted to always be good.
Yeah.
What? But I was like, I can still take a wee bit of a back seat now. I know how to do it. I can go to the pub with and enjoy it a bit more this time.
Relax out.
What? And I did until
I think it does help though, like bond with the college group and things.
Yeah, and it worked well until I tried to kill myself in the march. Fuck. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah, that was that year as well.
Yeah, that was.
So that was like, I feel like that was a bit of a like roller coaster year as well, because like there was so much pressure at the time, but like in a, you know, like obviously your HND's finishing, you're like, oh, what's my next step and all that kind of thing. Yeah, completely.
Yeah, well, it didn't help that I was having a lot of personal problems kind of out with.
Yeah.
What with a psycho ex, what there was constantly but pestering me and bothering me, and I was just I couldn't
cope with it.
Just couldn't take it. And I thought, nah, I'm done.
There was a lot of uncertainty going about at that time, I remember.
Yeah.
There was a lot of kind of what's going to happen next, and
yeah,
you know, it felt like the kind of end of an era, and there was people taking it really seriously.
Yeah.
And
I was one of those people.
It was challenging. It was definitely challenging.
Yeah, but I'm so glad that it all kind of ended the way it did.
Yeah.
Why? Because we bowed out in a brilliant way.
Because you guys were in is it Arsenic No Place?
Yeah.
Oh, I really enjoyed that. That was such a good play.
I think our performance of that has got a cult following now. Actually, it definitely feels like it. Yeah.
See, that's the problem. I don't have the DVD anymore because when I lived in the flat,
I've got both of them.
Do you actually?
Oh, I'll need to get a copy.
Oh, we'll need to watch
I've got
that.
the afternoon and the evening show.
Oh,
right.
Mate, I've got my supply one.
Oh.
Let's have like a movie night. Oh
that's what we'll need to do. We'll need to do like a live show on it, and I'll come up and we'll watch Arsenic and Old Lace.
And we'll do commentary.
And do commentary on it, and then we'll watch
Supply. We'll just
Supply
be like,
as well.
Here we go.
I loved Supply. I thought it was brilliant.
Oh,
I
I had
did.
such a good time working with I worked with a girl, obviously our college course, Libby.
Yeah.
Me and her just bounced off each other really well.
Libby's doing really well now. She's doing
teaching
so good.
things now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously Blair was in it as well, but he was in like both shows.
Yeah. I've not heard from Blair at all.
You can see Blair in The Witcher on Netflix.
Oh yeah, look, we're doing a wee shout out
Seriously?
for you, Blair.
Yeah, you can.
He's in the Witcher.
You can. He plays a drunk prince.
Oh my god.
And I was trying to get a petition started to get him his own spin-off series, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh, is that what I signed the other day?
Please tell Blair I'm asking for him.
Will do.
The irony was, let's see
You'll do it.
I've not spoken to him in a while, but I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll try and get.
Well, he doesn't even acknowledge I exist anymore. Like he's like.
I don't think he's on like social
He's
media.
not even on social media.
Yeah. No, if you hear from him, let's say hello. Because I remember when I first got together with Alison, when because we always started kind of like not like properly seeing each other, but we were talking like on Facebook and that, and then eventually I asked her out. And I remember meeting up with her thinking, oh god, what if she's picked the wrong ginger? What if she thinks I'm Blair? And then she'll see me and go, oh fuck it, what? Who's that? Because obviously like Blair's a very handsome man, he's very tall, he's very...
Blair's going to be listening to this like, thank you.
If Blair even knows I exist anymore, that's a plus.
Just for the record, Blair, I don't think you're that handsome.
It was like... Blair had thighs that could crack fucking walnuts.
Well, he was a rugby player, to be fair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, oh god, what if she's picked the wrong ginger? And got to know the wrong ginger? And then Alison turned up, and I was like, you weren't expecting someone else, right? She's like, no, why? And I was like, well, I thought you maybe wanted Blair, and she went, ugh.
Did she actually?
She did. She was just like, he seems too scary.
Yeah.
I was like, fear
get
not.
on board with that.
I was like, fear not the ginger giant. fear not the ginger giant.
Yeah.
Fear the ginger midget. That was I.
I always thought that people get mixed up between Lisa and I.
Thanks. Thank you, pal. Yep.
You had a better beard than me at the time.
Oh my god, I've missed you so much.
Right, well, I'm aware here.
Lisa, before the interview begun, it was a pleasure to see you.
I know, right? Thank you.
Thanks.
I feel like I still grow a better one than you do.
Oh, definitely. 100%. Yes.
So after college, which university was it you went to again?
So I went to Queen Margaret University.
Right. I thought so because you took a year out, didn't you?
Yeah. So
where you performed in my one and only show that I have ever done in my entire life.
it was so fun though. Like, so I'm like working class. Like I have no money ever, so it's great. Freelance life as well. So basically, I was like, I'll take a gap year, save money up. Because I knew I would need to move to Edinburgh if I was going to QMU. There was just no way that I was doing all that travelling. So I took the year, saved money, and then I also did a wee cheeky college course for 6 months of filming and editing between that.
Yeah, I remember you saying.
Yeah, I kind of set my arse, so I was like, this full-time work, I need to do something creative. So I ended up doing filming and editing, and photography, as well, and it was really good. And then 2014 I moved to QMU, but that was just before the play and things like that.
Because we done the play in October.
So I was like kind of travelling back and forth for it towards that point, but it was good. I really enjoyed it.
I do have to ask, did that give you your first paid professional gig? Because I did pay you.
Do you know what, actually?
I didn't pay you much, but I paid you. Because I wanted it to be down on record that I had gave you a professional gig, but I was always curious about, was that the first one?
Yeah, actually, like if I have to look back and like what I've been paid for and things like that, that was the first proper one that I was like, oh, and it was for my acting as well, which was lovely.
People still tell me about that play.
Really? I'm so glad. Like, it was such an interesting character. Like, I found that there was just a lot of depth to her, and with everything, obviously it was quite gritty, like issues and things, but like the actual character development of it, and I love how me and the other girl played it so differently as well.
Yeah, the other Lisa.
Yeah, I know, two Lisas. I was like, good one, Andrew Durning. Like,
I couldn't help who turned up for the audition.
It's like, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to mix things up and hire two Lisas. Like.
Well, in fairness, like we also hired Joanna from the Cool as well.
Yeah.
She did voiceover.
Aye, Joanna's good
as well. And the studio that we had didn't have a lift or any so I'd always to carry her up every time. I'd carry her up. She was like, "Oh, thank you." I'm like,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
I was like, I can't exactly just leave you down here. That's not fair.
Plus, it was like the wee industrial estate bit.
Yeah, in Coalbridge.
Has Colin still got that wee space?
No. Basically, after I left, he left as well.
Right. Okay.
But no, Colin's doing good as well. Like, he's still doing his albums and that.
I ended up messaging Colin with my creative lockdown, and I asked him to like partake in it, and he was so nice. He was like, and he gave me a song and the wee performance he did. So.
Yeah, he's really good. Like, his song, "The Folk That Live in Coatbridge," went viral. It got like 25,000 views or something.
That is mental.
All across the world. It was brilliant.
I seen Colin perform Goldfinger at a cabaret that was celebrating 50 years of James Bond.
I love that.
And it was really
I love
good.
that so much. Yeah.
It was very good. Very good.
Yep, I think Colin School definitely does listen to this because he's been on the show as well.
Oh, has he? Amazing.
I did an interview with him in the last series.
Yeah.
Because he was my mentor.
Yeah. Colin's really, really nice, and it's just everything he does is just so creative.
I say Colin, you still are. You still are my mentor. You're the one he's the one I go to for advice.
Colin, I hope you're gushing right now.
I hope it's only gushing.
Oh, there we go again.
Oh, maybe I should have put a bigger disclaimer in. I'm really sorry, guys.
It's okay. It's my fault.
Adult only podcast today.
Well, this is why Jack is a very accomplished teacher, very educated young man.
Here to keep the
I don't even know.
Keep the innuendos to a minimum. Yes.
It's also why Lisa is a very accomplished writer, director, producer, actress, and why I am currently sitting in my friend's flat, hiding away from my kids and praying to God that Alice is fed before I go home.
And we're about to do the 9th podcast of the day after this.
For this year. So how did you find QMU?
Oh, really mixed. I was actually going through mental health issues at the time as
well.
The big word. Yeah, which, do you know, it's funny, I'm actually quite open about mental health and things like that, but so it didn't really help because I was going through a really bad spell of depression, and so I was finding it really hard to get out of my bed and things like that and motivated. And it was actually like, I'll thank my lecturer Ksenia forever, because I ended up in second year being like, I want to direct. And that's probably when I was like feeling my lowest. I was like, right, okay, I can do this. And we got to a really tricky rehearsal, and like I just didn't know how to progress as a director in this situation. So it was just like the actor wasn't quite doing what I was asking, but they didn't have their character quite developed yet, you know, one of those situations.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, Lisa, just take a breath and come with me. And I went, okay, because she could see I was about to like pure great. And I'm not a crier actually, like in person or anything. And she was like, darling, you just need to breathe. You just need to accept what you're good at, and you are amazing at directing, and you can do this. And I just went, oh my god, thank you so much. I just burst out greeting. So we ended the rehearsal, I went home, and I think that's when I went, actually, do you know, I mean, I love acting, I still do, like it's fun for me, but that was the first time I was like, I could do this as a job, as a director. And I feel like she probably was like the instigator of that, like really helped me. So it was good. So I really enjoyed QMU. I like recommend it completely. It's such a good course. The lecturers are all really like successful. They know what they're talking about, and they're also really helpful. Like you feel like you can approach them about things, but they're also really supportive if you're going through anything as well, which I think is so important. So yes, it was great. I loved QMU. It just obviously has a bit of a downer on it because I was like,
well, I can relate to that because as we spoke about, what that was when in college when I tried to take my own life, and as much as what we can have a bit of a banter and a joke about the lectures, I have to say Graham Carr was brilliant with me, and so was Fraser Boyle. He was they were really good because
Fraser Boyle, like, I mean, to this day, I used to go see his pantomimes in Air, and like, how good is Fraser?
Always a dame.
But Fraser was really good at college. I feel like Fraser was my go-to at college. Like, he's just so good in that. And then when I was doing my dissertation about directing stuff, he did an interview for me and things.
Aww.
So he's just dead helpful. And then Ksenia was probably like my uni lecturer who like was there for me. So I QMU was good.
Fraser Boyle gave me a kick up the backside.
But he was good at that. He was just like, get on with it.
Definitely.
Like,
Definitely.
Was this a kick up the backside before I got there, or when I was there?
Well, I was a bit of a joker in first year. And
Bit of a joker.
Only a
Where
bit.
are you from?
Only a bit.
I'm a bit of a joker.
I'm trying to be polite. People that have swarmed through this much innuendo deserve a bit of politeness. I remember an S2. The S2? Not S2.
As you going into your
college,
teaching now.
That's me stuck in teacher mode. Just like not really taking it very seriously, and Fraser was like, you need to buck up or get off, and I was like, fair enough. So I bucked up my ideas and then did a 50-page PowerPoint on my character background.
I bet he loves going through
Oh,
that.
it was just like, what have I done?
Well, clearly it had an impact because, like I said, you're a very well respected,
Fully qualified member of the public now.
Oh, check
Yes,
it out.
yeah, definitely. So after you graduated QMU, what did you have an idea of what you were going to do next? Like, were you prepared, or were you just like?
No, completely. Like, so since the HND, I always wanted to set up a theatre company for like, which obviously makes sense now, but like I wanted to create more theatre in between Glasgow and Edinburgh because there's just like, there's fuck all. There's really is though. Like Cumbernauld Theatre was like a lifeline for me when I found acting, but I'm very lucky in the sense not a lot of areas have that. So I was like, I kind of want to create something and create work, and I knew I had to go study to obviously like find a way of doing that, but I didn't quite realise where it would take me on my journey. So when I found directing, that went, actually that's what I could do. I could set up theatre company as a director and like set up like, you know, youth groups or professional development workshops or even like professional touring company kind of thing. So my aim always during uni was to learn as much as possible so that I could then set up my business. But I ended up setting up a theatre company during uni called Simply Surreal, which is still going now actually. We just got funding for next year's Fringe, which is exciting.
I seen that. Well, I'm so proud of you.
I know,
So
honestly,
proud.
so me and my business partner Dougal, oh my god, so we basically did it on a whim because it's just us. We're just so chill with that company because it's a Fringe company and it's our chance to explore work that we maybe wouldn't be able to do in a different context.
For people that aren't maybe aware of like the acting side, like explain a Fringe company.
A Fringe company essentially is just literally like getting ready for a Fringe performance. So with the Fringe performance, you've got to really work on like minimalist settings, probably like minimal characters as well. Like if you don't have, I think our aim basically was to allow as much access as possible to the play. So we'd always kind of be donation based, and just be like, if you can pay is great. If you can't, just enjoy theatre because it's that lack of access again. Whereas I found we tried to do a play with the space and it just didn't work for us because it was like ticketed, it was really expensive. We tried to do too much in too little time. So for me, and it's different for everybody, but for me a Fringe company should be accessible and you should be able to like use it in any setting. So if you've got like, our very first play, Moonswing, was literally in a basement in a cafe, and the cafe was lovely, right? But like you'd go down the stairs, and I'm no joking, it was like, I wish you could see how small this is as I'm describing it, but it was like it's like a corner of the living room essentially, and then you had the audience here. So as you were performing, you were basically nose to nose with the audience at one point. And so I had to, as a director, work out how to manoeuvre that and do quick costume changes out with that room and going back in and stuff. But it was really exciting. I was like, oh, this is great. And so for me, adapting your Fringe play to any setting is probably what a Fringe theatre company is. But like, there'll be loads of people being like, no, Lisa, like, what are you talking about? But for me and Dougal, that's what it is. So to get, we've got over £2,500.
Wow.
Which is mental for us because, I mean,
Good amount of money.
yeah, definitely. Like, but we'll still we end up working with Sweet venues, Grassmarket. If anyone is looking for a Fringe company to work for, go with Sweet. It's honestly been the like most enjoyable experience, and they're really good with deals and things like that if you're struggling. So what they do is they charge for the room, but they give you the option of either ticketed, donations, whatever it is. And it means you can do it your way, and I think that works best for us. So, it's been good.
Yeah. So explain about like the applications like for funding and applying for the Fringe and stuff like that, because well, I've never done the Fringe. What?
It's all right.
What? You've never done the Fringe?
What? I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
I'm shocked at that, Andy.
I can't tell if you're being
No,
sarcastic.
I'm not. I'm genuinely shocked. The Fringe is like...
I feel like the Fringe is just a platform for everyone.
I have been to the Fringe.
Yeah.
I know people who have been to the Fringe.
You've not.
But I have the creative stability of a rat in a meth lab. So
then,
half the time my stuff would never get anywhere near it, and it was also I never had a clue. Because Jack, you've performed at the Fringe, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
Right,
couple of times.
So enlighten me about what the stuff that you've done at the Fringe, and then we'll circle back to Lisa if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, but no, this is my time. No, I'm joking.
I feel like I'm imposing, but...
No, I like to make sure that everybody is included. Yes, we officially Lisa McDonald, but we'll put underneath it and Jack.
Nah. Oh, can we do like Lisa McDonald in bold letters, right? Featuring Jack Reid.
Oh,
in italics.
That is actually a question that I need to ask just before, because when we were originally slated to do the interview, again, sorry, because it kind of went schizo.
No, it's fine.
So your name was
Triquear, sorry. So I was trying to
I no clue how to pronounce it. I was like to Jack, what's how did I say this?
It's French.
I know, right? No, so I was trying
to... Just classy.
I was trying to find a creative name because I feel like Lisa McDonald can be quite generic, but do you know, actually, like, I mean, obviously in a like friend setting and things like that, I'm just known as McDonald, and I just felt like I was kind of losing my identity with not going with that surname, so I'm officially Lisa McDonald. It's fine, we're all good. It was more because I was doing kid workshops, I was like,
That's good. I'll just so I know to change the thumbnail.
Okay.
My real name will remain anonymous.
Yes, Akbar Shabazz Jenkins.
Oh my god, so if I was to go Jack Reid, and then you'd bleep me out.
Yeah, we have to do that. The irony is that...
Do I do it? Do I just keep saying it so you have to bleep it out for every 2 seconds?
You better not, or this won't go to fucking air. It's like how, like, what?
I love how you're not bleeping swear words out, but like your surname, it's like bleep.
It needs to be bleeped.
So, what? I have to be imposing to the... I have to compliment the guest's demands. Like,
Yes.
my last name cannot be used for bleep reason.
It's also why I'm refusing to go on video as well.
Oh, that's fair.
Well,
Oh, man. Right, sorry,
I've got too many enemies.
your fringe performance
Far
and
too
all
many
that.
enemies.
Oh, do you?
Fringe, excellent fun, brilliant, stressful as hell.
Yeah.
I did it in 2015 with Mindframe Theatre Company, and we did Gagarin Way by Gregory Burke, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever done. It was a full month. It was like on off every day, and then one show would finish, and then you'd have about 5-minute turnaround before your audience would come in. So you, as you were saying about minimal set and minimal, things.
You have to like
we literally had
strategically in and out. And
Yeah.
like,
we had 4 wooden pallets. That was our entire set. And I remember the most interesting part of the show was we had a gun, and we had to get police, like, basically to notify that, because it was such a life-like replica. We had to get the police involved to basically sign off to say that we were allowed to have it.
Wow.
Because there was a circumstance, I won't go into the details of it, but a couple of years before, where the show was set in the 17 or 1800s, and one of the guys decided to take the prop musket home with him, walking through Holyrood Park as the Queen was there, and he got arrested and had to get taken to the police
Oh,
officer.
dear goodness.
Yep. They had to explain that it was a prop.
no way.
Yeah, and they wasn't trying to
This
assassinate
is
the
why
Queen.
I love creative people.
I do love the fact that if they were going to assassinate the Queen, it had to be with a musket.
Yes.
Yeah, like
It's
very,
like-
very
it could-
old fashioned.
You're like, if we're doing this with class. Like, we'll make sure it's perfectly clean.
I mean, she's a classy bitch, so like.
I've met
The
her daughter.
Queen would only demand the
Did
best.
you?
Yeah, I've met Princess Anne.
No way.
Yeah, when the boys were in.
I didn't know she was a local at Coatbridge pubs.
Ah, she's all. She loves a pint of Guinness. What can I say? What? But no Bucky. She's above that.
Oh yeah.
No,
Not for a royal.
When the boys were in neonatal, and because obviously they were 10 weeks premature, so the neonatal unit had been opened, but it was still awaiting, like, the official ribbon cutting. So Princess Anne was due to come, and we were still seeing the boys in the hospital, and we weren't expecting her to come near us. My mum had been saying, "Look, you've got twins. There's every chance she'll come into your room," and I'm like, "Nah, no way. Well, definitely not." So we're having fun with the nurses, saying, "I wonder if Princess Anne will have to use the sign-in sheet like we do." And it's like, will she have to take all her rings off and sanitize her hands? Well, infection control, people. Well, this was before COVID, so this is really inappropriate now. And sure enough, she comes in, and I'd never heard this ward so quiet in the entire time that I'd been there.
Yeah.
So she goes through to the the main hub, where, because there was 3 sections of a neonatal unit. There is when they just came out and they're being tube fed, because they can't feed their own, they can't have the ability to suck and all that kind of stuff. And then they get moved into the next room, which is where we were, which is them just kind of building them up.
Right. Okay.
To get them ready, and then they go to special care babies unit, which is like they're almost ready to go. Let's get the parents in for a couple of nights and with them, get them used to the children before you go home. So we were in the second kind of stage. So she went through to see the younger ones, and Kieran started getting a bit kind of gurney. So we were trying to calm down, and our lady in waiting kind of popped her head in. So she came round, and me being me, I'm gabbing away because it wasn't Princess Anne.
Yeah.
I know lady in waiting is very important, but I didn't know it was a lady in waiting at that point.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't a big kind of royalist follower that Alison was. And Alison knew, but she just kind of was like, because she was asking, like, She's like, oh, how old are they? And like, oh, are they identical? The usual stuff. Like, and then
In a Coatbridge accent.
I
I don't think this was Princess Anne.
This was her lady in waiting. She was Figure Lee. But so then, sure enough, Princess Anne's head pops round.
Wow.
And Alison is absolutely terrified. Let's say she followed the rules and stuff like that, and she basically froze. And Princess Anne comes in, and the charge nurse is like, and this is our multiples ward. And I'm like, no, it fucking isn't. They're only calling it that because Kieran and Connor were in the room.
Yeah.
And another set of twins whose parents weren't there at that point. And
So what's the procedure? Do you need to bow and stuff? Or?
well, I didn't know what to do because
Right.
I was trying not to brick myself, but it's royalty and I didn't want to show up Alison.
Yep.
Mainly, I couldn't give a crap at Princess Anne. I was bricking it for my wife.
Yeah.
But so she starts asking how old they are, and so I'm speaking to them. They were born 10 weeks early. They came into futures. They're third week in the hospital. And I was Alison to this day says she's never heard me speak so calmly and so eloquently in her entire life. Because I was so determined not to make an arse of myself. And I kind of did a little bow when she came over, and was speaking to her, and then she went. So she had a kind of look round the room, and then circled back round to us, and I said, it was very nice meeting you. And she went, did you say they were identical twins? And I said, yes, ma'am. She went, good luck. And off she went. So when royalty knows that you're fucked with multiples, you really take that on board.
Yeah, I definitely.
So that's my brush.
Claim to fame.
Yeah, it's and it's something I can tell the boys when they're older. You met Princess Anne. Granted, you were like asleep half the time, and you barely had pupils in your eyes, but yes, you met her.
Aww.
So there we go.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
cool.
Right, so tell me about how you apply for the fringe and budgets and things like that, because I've never had a clue about that.
So usually what happens is that you obviously explain what your theatre company's about, what they do and all that, and then you do a play description. So essentially, I always get the writer, Dougal's like, yeah, you do. I always get him to fill out kind of like the description about the play itself, because obviously he would know best, like that's fair.
Is it like a brief description? Has it got to be like a certain amount of words or
It
less?
depends what application, because I've done that many over the years.
So who will check you out?
I know, right? I'm like, yes. No, but we did like the free fringe, which was a much easier application process, I would say. But it's because you don't know what space you're getting and things like that either, so you get less choice.
So what is a free
Free fringe essentially, so they are, which I love, I absolutely love, is that they'll try and get as many spaces as possible for you, right? And then all they ask at the end is that you donate to the service so that they can do that for next year as well, so it's kind of like a rolling thing.
Right.
And they usually recommend that you do maybe like half of what you've made profit wise, but sometimes if it's a free fringe, like people don't like necessarily pay you at the end and things like that. So it can be quite daunting money wise, like you're like, oh, you know, so there's pros and cons to that, totally, but like their form's a lot easier. It's more, it's not really budgeting, it's more about like what do you need, essential, what do you need, because it is bare minimum. So you know, if you need a big light and strobe and things like that, you're probably not going to get it, that kind of thing. So you've got to be very minimalist with that. Like there was a play where I just used black boxes, you know, and that's fair. The space is way more detailed, but the space is like you've got to go through your budget and your tech, your sound, if you're maybe paying for any royalties for anything like that, and then script wise you've got to really thoroughly go through like how long it is, how much you need time wise for like a get in and get out. So they offer you say an hour and a half, and then they're like, here's the available spaces if they like what you're doing, and then you pick kind of what's within your budget. Think about, right, how many people on stage, like, you know, entrances and exits, does this work for me? So with Central Belters, for instance, we did Pan Reid, and we ended up getting like a corner stage, and I panicked. I was like, oh, Oh, I've not really done a corner stage before, but actually it worked out quite nicely. I quite liked that you could use kind of 2 forms of view, and then you just got to be quite clever about the entrances and exits, which obviously as a director I'm like, yes, great, love it. And then suite venues, I would say, is a bit more chill than the space, but more detail than Free Fringe kind of thing, where they do ask you budgets and things like that, but they are more negotiating with you a lot of the time, and they're really helpful. They'll give you kind of a baseline, and then you also then, with your ticket sales and things like that, give them a bit more money, which I think is totally fair. And space wise, they give you a good place to like advertise and all that. So it's like very, very in detail in that, but it's not too bad applying for the Fringe. It's usually funding that is a right pain in the fucking arse. Like, if you've got a weird dodgy play that doesn't like suit a certain theme of the time and things like that, you're very likely to not get it. So you've got to look at what the funding people want. And do you suit that? And if you suit that, then apply for it definitely. But if you don't suit it, don't waste your time. Like, go for other things.
How do you know what they want, what the funding people want? Do
research. Like, go into that company. Go, what do they look for? What do they usually fund in the past? Like, I feel like a lot of like amateurs go, oh, we'll just apply, but they don't do the back work. Like, maybe they do you know what I mean? But it's just, it saves you a big hassle at the beginning of applying for like 5 things and then being like, oh, I didn't get any of them because we didn't suit the, do you know what I mean, criteria of it.
Yeah.
So it's just research with all these places.
Oh, that's really good. So you did. When was your first time with the Fringe? Was it when you were still at university?
Yeah, I was in second year. We were actually meant to. This is what I mean with the Free Fringe. Sorry. So we were actually meant to do. I think it was like a 12-person play. It was the Bluebird. Great play. If you ever get a chance to read it, but essentially the space we were meant to use was Chiquitos at the time, and it closed down.
Oh.
And so they got back to us and they were like, look, we've got an alternative space, it's in this cafe, but however, we don't actually have like enough room for like your 12 cast. And I was like, completely fair, because we went to see the space and they were like, I mean, you can try. I went, right, okay. Went to see the space and I was like, there's no way I can even fit 5 people in here, like on stage, there's just no chance. So we had to kind of say to the people, look, can I do Bluebird anymore to the cast? And they were like, no, that's fine, totally understand. So I was like, cool. But then me and Dougal got into a conversation and we're like, do you know what? He wrote like a monologue called Moonswing. And I went, why don't we develop that into a play? Because it's a really good theme, it's like a nice generic story but with a few twists and things like that. I was like, why don't we just develop that? And we went, fuck it, let's do it. And it took us about a week to do a turnaround, 2 weeks. I mean, Dougal is talented, like 2 weeks to write a play, you know what I mean? But we had an idea of what we wanted and things, and then we also did improv with the cast, which really helped like build our play and things. So, you know, you've got to be kind of alright with just letting things go with the Fringe and just kind of getting on with it. Even Reid. How much did we have to cut of the script just to make timing on it?
Just to make
like,
it fit. I just remember rehearsing in a sports leisure centre in Wicklow for Reid.
Oh yeah. Oh, so I used to work in good old Wishy. I love, honestly, I absolutely love it. Used to work weekends there, and the manager of NL Leisure was really helpful actually and gave me one of the studio spaces. I still obviously paid and things like that, but like she made space for me essentially, so we had to move the bikes every week and create a stage, and then we put like the tape down to actually create the corner and all that. Oh my god, it was hilarious.
It's a spin fit room.
It was a spin fit studio.
Man.
The things you do for a cheaper space.
It's amazing. It's amazing how much like resilience there is in theatre and creativity just to get round, you know, the parameters that are set for yourself.
Aye, like the staff I used to work with at Wishy were like, "What the fuck, Lisa?" Because I was carrying a bench. Mind, we were carrying a bench down the corridor past a body bench. Like pump class. Like
I built that bench and had to like transport.
Do you know that bench is still in my garage to this day?
Is it still in your garage? Oh, you've got to love it.
That probably brings us round to Central Belters. So how did that idea come about? Like, I know.
Central Belters. Kaylee's gonna be like, what are you doing, Lisa?
I was gonna say, why does the Central Belters song sound like the Teletubbies theme? Central Belters, say.
Oh my god, could we do that? I would be like,
Say-
Central Belters.
What? Say, alright.
Alright, Central Belters. Aye, maybe.
You can tell I watch too much CBeebies with my kids.
You can tell I'm just like off my rocker sometimes. No.
You need to be in this line. You need to be in this line of work. Right. So tell me about the idea.
Right, so me and Kaylee, so she joined in the HND year as well, and for the get-go, me and her like ended up being pure best pals, like just
Yeah,
were.
you two got on like a house on fire.
There was one time we got put together for a duologue thing. What was that thing called? Mind, it was monologues and duologues and.
Oh yeah.
Caramel logs.
That was
it.
Yes, because
Right.
we got the caramel wafers for for Turks, and you were doing. I cannot remember the title of the duologue, but it was the two women in the boat. And then the boat starts sinking.
Oh my god.
I teach it. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
I've taught it. Fran and
Yeah, Fran Josie.
Aye, Josie.
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, right. But like that monologue like sums up our friendship. It's hilarious. But
What, a sinking boat?
a sinking boat. Her no even noticing and me screaming my tits off. I like. That's me and Kaylee. It's funny actually. So me and her had actually been talking about it in college. When we first met and things like that, we're like, no, it'd be great because I told her that I'd love to create theatre between the two areas, and she was like, oh, I know, man. And then we just got into a really intense conversation about it. So we'd always kind of had it in mind, having a theatre company and things like that. But I think it kind of came to a head when she was in the year, 2 years above me? A year above me? Jeez, oh, can't mind. 2 years. I was in second year when I helped her with her dissertation. And she was doing, as part of your fourth year, you kind of do a business plan or you do like a self-reflection and one of the things. And she was like, I'd really like to do like the theatre company we spoke about years ago. And I was like, yes, like, yeah, let's do it. So she wrote her business plan, and then in a couple of years' time, it was my turn to do the business plan, so we kind of updated it. So it was actually a template for uni essentially. But when we finished uni, it was the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, and we went, do you want to do it? Do you want to just do it? I mean, we always talk about it, like, why don't we just go for it? And so we went to Costa. We worked out a game plan for Panbury and things like that. Took a cute wee selfie because Kaylee loves a photo, and then we ended up basically trying to create this company.
So you were talking about Panbreed. So what is the concept of Panbreed for people that obviously weren't in the know? I mean, I was in the know, but I don't know what you guys.
Pan breed your deed kind of thing. So pan breed's like a slang saying for like, goodbye. R.I.P.
So is that the gist of the story? Like your deed so long?
Yeah. So what the character that you never ever see is really ill, and so it's like about the community all kind of speaking about this one character. So there's two wee grannies. And then there's the son who's kind of middle-aged, and then you've got your typical wee Asda worker, like, but she was like from the scheme almost, like Louise played her amazingly. And then you had one of the wee schoolboys, Gregor, and then Amy was kind enough to play the other boy. So it was like, or actually I don't even know, never decided, we never really had a gender for Amy, like, it was just quite, it was just like, aye.
That's very part of the woke society now, so you're ahead of your time.
Yeah, exactly, like, it was just, it was never ever needed, if you know what I mean. It didn't have to be established in that, which I actually really enjoyed about it. But yeah, basically it was just about them kind of dealing with this illness and, are we third pals no here and all that, and towards the end of it, we're hoping to tour it, so don't want to give away the ending, but essentially it's just about good banter and a kind of community between Glasgow and Edinburgh to showcase that, these are real lives and this is what they really talk about and things.
Well, how long was the run for again? Was it 2 weeks?
No, it was a week.
It was an intense week.
Yeah, it was an intense week.
Was it a week that felt like a month?
Yeah.
It did actually. Yeah. It did.
How many shows were you doing a day again?
It was only one show a day, but like the actual, like, I love the fringe concept, right? Because essentially you do all this stress build up of a few months and you rehearse it because it's got to be like slick for you doing the get in, get out. There's not really room for mistakes because you don't have the time. You don't have the time to ad-lib. You know how like if you're in a performance, and obviously very talented actor, if you make a mistake you just get on with it, great. But usually you have to find your way out that situation a lot of the time, whereas we just really don't have time for that at the Fringe. So yeah, so essentially we did a pure intense week. It was lovely, loads of advertising before and after it, but you also just get steaming. Not the actors, sorry, right? But like, it's just.
I was kind of hoping we weren't going to talk about that, but yeah.
We've got to talk about it.
It's just a time where I feel like you kind of go as essentially as like the backstage crew, because I was helping with like changing costumes and all that, because you're never just one job either in the Fringe. So director, stage manager, like, you know, it's just you kind of roll everything into one. And we just like go for pints beforehand, then we do flyering, maybe have an hour wee pint or that, go to the show, and then after the show just drink all night. So like you just have a week of like this quite intense, like stressful time, but also really fucking good. Like, and I think that's why I love the Fringe so much, because it is that matter of like, yes, we're professional, yes, we're putting a show on, but we also get to network, socialise, meet people. Like, it's fantastic. I actually really thoroughly enjoy it. I don't think I would ever give up the Fringe.
It's an amazing experience.
I was really so gutted with COVID, because I was like, I've been performing or like taking part in the Fringe since 2015, like straight.
Wow.
So for us to then go, oh, actually there's a lockdown, oh, Fringe isn't on, and then this year's kind of the same as well. It's like that kind of, oh, we don't know, they're giving like loads of comedians a platform rather than theatre companies and stuff, and it's a bit like, oh, what are we doing? So that means we might potentially be 2 years out of doing the Fringe, so it's a bit like, oh.
So how did you find it when the country went into lockdown? Like, because you guys were motoring along quite nicely.
We were,
like,
yeah.
Things seemed to be going well, and all of a sudden, like the rest of the world, COVID just kiboshed it.
We struggled. I'm not going to lie. So like in February we done a really good workshop of trying to do development work for, we had a couple of play ideas. So I've kind of started getting into writing more so through lockdown, but we had an idea for like a person going through dementia, but like in a kind of fantastical way of going through that journey. So
kind of like when we saw that Dissociate.
Yeah, like that, yeah. But maybe not as dark kind of thing with those themes. But yeah, like that kind of concept of like exploring something but in a childlike way, so that it's relatable, but you also kind of learn the stages of it, right? So we'd done this development workshop and really enjoyed it. It was so good. Like, I had pals come through from Edinburgh to take part. Like, I feel like we've got a good wee network going. And then it was a month later, and lockdown hit, and we went, fuck, what are we going to do? Like, you know, I was sitting and like, I ended up getting stuck in Edinburgh. Not stuck, sorry, Andrew. My boyfriend was like, what, Lisa? But basically it was in Edinburgh for ages, and me and Kaylee were talking, and I went, I need to do something creative. This is awful, and I want to give other people a platform to also be creative. So we kind of came up with the concept of Creative Lockdown, which was an online series, and we asked people who wanted to take part.
You had quite a few, didn't you?
Oh, so I'd imagined it being, see when we first spoke about it, right, me and Kaylee did a wee record and we're like, oh, so join us if you want. So we imagined it maybe be like 6 weeks long, like episode per week. So
like a mini series.
Yeah, so I'd strategized, I can't speak. We kind of worked out, right, we're going to do it on a Monday morning at this time, we'll hit the right audience, and then we have a week to like promote it. Cool. So got to the 6 weeks, and then someone else was like, yeah, sure, can I do it? Oh, actually, can I do a performance too? So ended up 24.
Holy.
So I did that.
I
did that for 24 weeks of editing and things. It was so good though. Like, there's so many talented people out there, and the fact that I'm so privileged to have that many pals, like, and connections was I love it, like, and it gave other people the opportunity to maybe test their workout, and they were like, oh, do you know, actually, yeah, like, this is good for me, and so we all did it quite as like a wee group almost.
Did you get any like kind of monetization for it?
No,
like,
it was total.
It was just
It was a total.
keep the wheels turning.
Yeah, it wasn't even. Do you know? Actually, it wasn't even necessarily for us to make money or anything like that. It was just to like network and also create a platform for artists that can do something. We weren't really fussed about money actually, and I know people are going to be like, "What? Is that not the point in the company?" But at the time, it was more of a like creative outlet. Like, can we not just help each other and give someone a platform? And my whole idea was that, if I'm feeling this shite, there must be so many other people that are feeling the same pressure of not having anything to do. And that's why I was like, well, give me a piece or a performance or whatever, and if you want to put it on, that's great, because I never ever forced anyone. Like, they all came to me and were like, yeah, this would be great. So no, that was more of a like networking, showcasing kind of situation, and it was for them to get like followers and gain a kind of momentum for their side of things.
How do you find that especially the media marketing aspect, because that is something that I tell you right, I don't have a clue about. I mean, you knew that from when we did my play. I was rubbish at the marketing.
No, like,
well, when you book a 150 seater theatre for 2 nights and you get a total of 12 people over it, it was heartbreaking for me, and I think that's what caused me to go out the game entirely, because I was so broken by it. But I felt even worse because I felt like I let all of you down.
Oh no! Please don't think that. Like, you genuinely didn't. I actually had such a good time working on your play. Like, genuinely, I'm not like just saying that. If I didn't like it, I'd tell you. But like,
I'm glad.
Do you know? At first, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was really shite with marketing. Had no clue about it. Like, I mean, Dougal can tell you from Simply Surreal. I was in charge of it, and for the first I only got an Instagram during lockdown, so for the first 5 years of a Simply Surreal, we only had a Facebook page, because I was like, I don't know, I'm not a social media person. I'm much better now, and I think that's through learning. Pretty much, like, I was like, right, I seem to get more likes at this point. Okay, right, these peak times are important. Right, actually, what I find, if I post on a Sunday night, no one's on, they're all out of bed, let's do a Monday morning when they're all going to work, like that kind of thing. So I kind of taught myself about marketing. Like, Hayley's like, fuck that, like, she hates social media, as in she's just no. So like, any Central Belters posts and that, so if anyone gets offended, don't blame me, please. But basically, marketing wise for Central Belters, I would say that it's kind of my go-to now. So like, Kaylee is so good with the like background stuff of like taxis and like financial shit, like that goes over my head, like, so I'm so lucky that we've got
boring stuff.
Yeah. Like, I'm so lucky to have.
In fairness, that's also the type of stuff that I wanted to specifically ask Kaylee about as well, because that was where I struggled when I did the company. I was lucky to essentially get a 12-month, let's see how we go, kind of like a rolling contract for a manager at a football club, so to speak. But that side I couldn't work out at all, because I was just doing it on my own. No, everybody was all, oh, that's great, and then we go, I need a wee bit of help. Oh, that's great. And I was kind of just left to drown.
To be fair though, me and Kaylee did a shit ton of fundraising like together before we even decided to launch. So like, we knew what play we wanted to do, because Kaylee's actually got another one in the bank that we're hoping to do in a few years. And then we're kind of hoping to. Yeah, it's really
spoilers.
Good. No spoilers. I'm not telling you about it. I'm sorry, but we were also thinking about touring Panbade at some point, and so we did a lot of fundraising. Like, we really had to like push it for. We did so many things. We did like a pub quiz.
It was a
Halloween night as well. A race night. Did a race night.
Race nights are always really good. Race nights are good.
We did kind of like a raffle auction thing as well. Like, I mean, we really put the graft in. Like, we had to, or no one else was going to do it for us. You know what I mean? And then we launched like legally as a business. kind of thing as well. So it's been good. It's been like hard but good kind of thing, definitely. But tax-wise and all that, we're actually in quite a lucky position, because when we obviously paid for the Fringe venue and paid for all that, because we'd raised so much money, it actually worked out. And then the money we made for tickets, like, we did profit share, so like me and Kaylee didn't pay ourselves because we're trying to launch the company, so we just paid everyone else that like took part in it as much as we could, just to keep us going kind of thing. So
I'm going to divert to Jack for a couple of questions.
Okay.
Well, since I feel like I've been neglecting you a little bit.
That's okay. I'm just here for the banter.
We're here for the banter. Right. Obviously, you teach drama now.
Yes.
What? Do you ever miss performing?
Nope.
Don't miss it.
I mean, to a certain degree, yes, but I was always more interested in the kind of more humanitarian side of drama rather than the performance side. So what I mean by that is about using performance skills to help people rather than
like community.
Like that sort of thing. Because if you're into your drama, my favourite practitioner was always Augusta Boal, and it was about, you know, developing confidence.
I love him.
Who doesn't love Augusta
Oh my god,
Boal?
so he like focuses on like movement within performance and all that kind of thing, which sounds really wanky actually now that I'm saying it. But
there's nothing in theatre that doesn't sound wanky.
but right,
the three people that listen to this have just went, I'm out.
However, I think it's really cool because he's like someone that focuses on like confidence and like building those skills, which obviously works in a community setting.
Theatre of the oppressed. Exactly, and I think it was always about using it to help people. I don't know, something that really kind of grinds my gears at the moment is
grinds my gears. Is that
Peter Griffin?
Aye,
it is
Family
Peter
Guy.
Griffin. It's always I don't know, it was just growing up for me, drama was important because it helped me find who I was as a person in terms of like, you know, confidently being able to speak to people and developing people's skills and like, you know, getting up on stage and getting that adrenaline rush, because it was kind of building you up to say like, you know, your deepest, darkest inhibitions that are stopping you from doing stuff, you can kind of combat through that. And right at the moment, I think we're, you know, take the pandemic to one side. A big thing at the moment
pandemic?
is, but a big problem at the moment is kids and their lack of people skills and their lack of attention to.
You can tell we're at that age where we're going, you know what the problem is? It's the children.
It's children, yeah.
And I'm a parent, so I can say that and I can get in even more trouble.
But then I also think it's that generation of like, because
It's phones.
no, genuinely though, I know we sound old as fuck right now, but like
Oh, thanks.
think
Remember,
we were-
I'm like at least a decade older than you guys.
so basically I think we grew up where you didn't need a phone and things like that, like
We were the last generation.
like you played in the street and
yeah.
you just went on your bike and all that. And I think now kids are getting phones from like the age 8 and upwards, and it's for like, they say for safety purposes obviously, but like I found when I was teaching, I do workshop leading as well, and like when I was teaching kids on Zoom, they're just like that, like glued to their phone the whole time, and it had to get to the point where I was like, guys, put your phones away. But that was never really an issue in my day because it wasn't a thing. Like, it just wasn't a thing.
It was always bad in schools. Like since I've become a teacher, it was always bad, the phone usage. But
Have you found
since
it?
the pandemic,
Since?
I was just about to say, since the pandemic, it's gotten 100 times worse. And I think it's like not just an addiction thing, but it's a self-comfort thing. You know, like if they go on to that, they can feel more comfortable, they can feel safe because it's something that they're used to doing. Especially like at home when they had nothing to do during all that time.
I feel like, I know obviously TikTok, still haven't downloaded it on my phone.
I just don't
Never
have
will.
I don't have a clue what it is.
Never will.
But do you know, it is a creative outlet for a lot of kids because they were
Yeah.
doing like, is it TikTok challenges? And I know there is a toxic side of TikTok, right? I'm not like naive. However, if you use it in the right context, you know what I mean? It was a creative outlet for a lot of them because they could do like TikTok dances and challenges and whatever else it was. And you know,
Well,
that's a
that
positive
it's
thing as
also
well.
as a teacher, it's about using these things to channel the positive things.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about TikTok, you talk about TikTok dancing and performances in there, great, amazing. But one of the biggest things that's actually got boys into dancing is Fortnite. Right?
Is it actually?
It is. Now, Fortnite is obviously like a game for
Yeah, I love
Xbox,
Fortnite.
PlayStation, and you can play it online. But there's
Well, I
very
need that
unique.
clarification because I have the gaming capacity of a dead mouse.
Right, well, Fortnite is this game. It's like a battle royale where you just like you team up and you just kill each other in other teams, but it's cartoony.
Right.
So you've got like it's designed for kids, but adults play as well. But
Was that the thing that Thor was playing in Endgame?
it is,
Right.
yes, that's
Now I
exactly
get
what
it.
it was. And kids are obsessed with it. But what happened was that there was very unique animations in the game. That like if you won something, they did a certain dance, and the dances went viral. And boys in particular were obsessed with these dances, and no matter where you go, they would always do the dances because that was just, especially in drama, when you're teaching drama, they just start moving about and doing the dances. So there was a massive surge of boys getting into dancing just because of this, because of Fortnite. So you can take these things and you can put positive spins on them, but I guess it's just because it's getting more and more challenging because people are being more emotionally distant. There's so much horrible things happening in the media all the time that, you know, don't go and talk to your neighbours, don't talk to strangers and stuff like that.
I know I was doing that before it was cool.
Well, there you go. But
now you're a teacher, like you're teaching the next generation of.
don't blame.
You just
In 25 years, do not blame me.
Right. Yeah. So you're lined up to teach like the next generation of like potential actors, producers, singers, whatever. What would you say would be the one bit of advice that you wish that you'd got in your position?
That's funny, I've not even thought of that. What's the one piece of advice I wish I'd gotten?
Something that like you just think, if there's one thing I can say that will maybe help this kid, that it's my nugget, my gem.
Yeah, mine would be get your arse in gear, because I felt like the first couple of years out of school, or just towards the tail end of school, it was very much kind of half-arsed, and it's because you think you've got so much time in front of you, and you think, oh, it's fine, it'll happen eventually. And I think it took until we got into lockdown before I realised, all these stuff I want to do, like my podcast and like my radio shows and stuff like that, do it now. You know, if you want to go hill walking, do it now. You want to start a radio show, do it now. You want to get fit, do it now, because you're never going to get that opportunity again. And I think that if I could go back and do it again, I would be much more productive, like 100 times more productive.
Well, we're talking about opportunities. So Lisa, enlighten about the projects and any opportunities that you've got coming up.
Ooh,
No, ones that you're allowed to tell. No, let's tell our website.
So we are currently in talks with Peter to work on his play. I don't want to give any details away for now.
Okay.
You know, like the sound effects, and it's like every good news. Woohoo! Woohoo! Yay!
I'm super excited to work with. Well, I don't know how I'll get to work with him, but it'd be cool to let you guys work with Peter.
Sorry, I should mention that Jack kind of ends up being like a volunteer
lackey.
of a lackey. I did describe him as a lackey earlier for Central Belters, so yeah, Jack ends up just working on projects with us anyway.
And the unofficial janitor of Central Belters.
We always need one though, do you know what I mean? But yeah, so currently in talks with Peter, because hoping next year we'll be able to tour his play between Glasgow and Edinburgh, and I'm kind of hoping to do it in like pub settings and things like that rather than your traditional theatre, but we still need to kind of talk through the details and things.
I'll need a pub, Eagle Inn, Coatbridge, so I know the owner, I can put in contact with.
That would be amazing.
He loves theatre as well. He was actually going to let us do our show in
really?
there before I got the studio.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh,
So-
I love folk like that, because
Story for another time, but I had a belter of a Saturday night out in Eagle in 1 year.
Yeah, in fairness, I had many of them.
Eagle Inn's good. I really like
Eagle
Eagle
Inn's
Inn.
good. Well, I was on the karaoke team. Still
definitely-
undefeated.
There's
Still
definitely
undefeated.
some characters in there that
Yeah,
are just...
definitely.
Yes, there are.
But then it's
I
just
know
so
one. I know
real
one of the
life.
guys that Well, he now owns some of it because he won the lottery. Well,
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
What he is, he really is.
So I was thinking we're doing that, and then we have a Halloween project coming up. So we wanted to do a short film last year, and then obviously things eased. We were like, yay, we can do it, and then things got really strict again, and it just wasn't possible to do what we wanted. So this summer we're going to like storyboard the thing, because we kind of know what we want, and then probably do auditions for actors to get involved for the characters. I don't want to give too much away with that either, but it'll be kind of like, I'm hoping kind of Alice in Wonderland-esque, but with like really dark characters and themes throughout it. So
Nice.
I think that'll be quite fun. And then
That's going to be fun.
I got I know, I'm so excited. And then I got funding for the Simple Cereal that I mentioned earlier, so we're going to be working on that project for next year.
Again, congratulations.
Thank you. And then I'm also doing a scratch night with, you should follow them, they're really good, Queer Activity and Lockdown Links. So they accepted my piece of writing. It's a very raw piece, it's not been performed before, kind of about feminism and things, just with everything going on. I found that writing was my go-to when I was really fucked off. In the best way possible.
Can you ever be fucked on?
It doesn't sound like a good...
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you?
Right.
Doesn't sound fun.
No.
Right.
So...
For anybody that's not aware, what is a scratch night?
So a scratch night essentially is that like you'll get actors, directors and writers together, and then an actor will get your piece of writing, and then the director might do like certain things with it, and then it gets performed and you get a feedback session. So usually you'll aim for like between 3 and 5 minutes of performance, just depending on what setting you're in. Sometimes it could be a whole scene, but for this scratch night it's 3 minutes max kind of thing. And then you'll watch everyone's performances, kind of take notes and stuff, and then you'll get feedback on what you could have done with the writing, what bits maybe work and what bits don't. I do feel like I should say with a scratch night you've got to be very open-minded. Like, you don't need to take everyone's feedback into consideration. However, you can't get hurt by it either, because at the end of the day they're just trying to help you. So it's essentially so you can build your script up and actually get it ran by someone to see, is this working? Oh, actually this wee bit jars and things like that. So it's really handy. And then I'm hoping to kind of finish that play for about 2 years' time. And then me and Kaylee are discussing doing Central Belters, her second play, for a while. So we've got a good like 2-3 year plan, which is nerve wracking. And just loads of funding applications over the next kind of...
Yeah, and you were talking about workshops you were doing, so what are these workshops you were doing?
Yeah, so freelance life, I'm just like doing everything at the moment, but just floating through life. So I do workshop leading in Bathgate with At the Root Theatre. Matthew set that up during uni and it's taken off. So essentially during lockdown I wasn't doing anything, and this was before I'd signed up for Creative Lockdown, and he was like, right, let's, he's like, we're going to Zoom workshops and things, and I went, look, if you need anyone, I'll come help. And he was like, that way you kind of go, I'll help and think you'll be there once like in a blue moon. And he was like, no, that'd be great, like come on board. And I was like, okay. So now we're back in person and I'm teaching. It can vary from like 5 years to 18.
Wow.
So it's a very different age ranges, very different approaches for each class. I work with a great team. So at the moment I'm teaching seniors, which is like high school lot.
Right.
They're a good laugh, man. I love them. And then I teach adults, adult acting class. I launched,
nice.
We at the Root Theatre actually. Me and Matthew kind of collaborated. So
that's over in Bathgate as well?
Yeah, so it's currently on Zoom actually.
Right.
We ended up launching it online because we had planned to do it in Bathgate.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be able to launch it in August as we planned, but we're hoping to kind of restart things the following year and get it all up and running. I would say the adults class is probably my favourite, not in a bad way, kids or anything like that, it's just from my experiences and things like that, I just prefer working with older people. But kids are such a laugh, like they'll just go for it, and there's no like hesitation, whereas sometimes when you come across with adults, it's like they're like kind of wary of themselves, and it's my job to like break that down and just like have fun with whatever we're doing. So I also really enjoy that.
Oh, good. Well, I think we're coming up on time, which is quite good. So I'll just throw general ideas out. So if you could perform any play in the world, you had rights to anything, what would you do? And that's for both of you.
Oh, there's so many. There's so many that I love. Do you know, I'd probably go for, I know obviously it's very generic in that, The Wonderful World of Dissociate would probably be one of my top ones to do. Only because I love that kind of like I keep saying fantastical, as if I'm a wank. But
I just say it's your buzzword.
Yeah, it's my buzzword.
We've just spent an hour and 20 minutes talking about theatre. Of course it's wanky.
I love it, but it was one of the first plays I've seen and thought I would love to get a chance to direct this, and it's still to this day the same feeling. Like I love how mental it is, and during uni we did like a version of it.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. We ended up doing that at the they used to have like a wee mini festival in like February, March time. That's really terrible, I've forgotten the name of it now. But we performed it there as well. And I'd love to do the actual play itself, because it's, you know, like with the polar bear and just everything going on in it. Like you could do so much with it, and you could get really strong actors, and I'm gonna go with that one. Wonderful World of Dissociate.
Yeah. Jack?
Mine's a weird one.
I like weird.
Mine was it's William Shakespeare's The Empire Striketh Back. It's The Empire Strikes Back, but it's written in verse.
No way!
I've got a copy of it, and it is.
Let me read it.
Well, they've done the original Star Wars, and they've done Empire Strikes Back, they've done Return of the Jedi, and I think they've done the prequel films as well. So they've done Phantom Menace, but The Empire Striketh Back is the best one.
Well, it's best on the best one.
And it's got to be, the line is "Look, I am thy father," which is. And it's all in verse, and the opening crawl is like the muse, so sounds brilliant, and if you could get the budget, you would definitely do it. Oh yeah, 100%.
Right. Any part that you would specifically want to play, like that's on your bucket list? Like, I know what you guys are like the teaching directing route, but if there was a part that you could go, right, we're going to call you back, and it's something that you, basically Godfather, it was an offer you couldn't refuse, what would that part be?
It's going to be a really weird one. Lady Macbeth.
Ah,
Really?
very nice.
She is a fantastic character, and I find a lot of I really struggle actually with plays for female characters. A lot of them is like very like the patriarch of it, so it's like, you know, oh, I am the head of the house, and you know, and you've got all these fantastic male characters, and then the females are kind of like the supporting chaps. It's just, you know, I don't mean that in a bad way, but I feel like it's obviously changing now and it's developing a lot more.
Yeah.
But Lady Macbeth was a character of her time. Like, she's basically the one that kind of like persuades Macbeth into it, and she's like, I think she's really interesting at exploring. You can play her in so many different ways.
What's interesting about Lady Macbeth is, although it's a female character, it's written for a man to play. Obviously,
exactly. Yes. So like,
yeah.
So I just think that actually, yes, like that's a great character. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lady Macbeth.
Jack?
I don't know.
I like, mind you played I was in College, Rosie.
I was going to say, I think I've done my
I
my
think he's
dream
actually done
Castro.
his dream.
I would like to play Theodore Roosevelt again, but
that
Sneaking old
suited
ways.
you.
yeah,
to a T.
but I
You were brilliant. I have to say, it was a pleasure to act alongside you.
Oh, I loved being Teddy. That was good.
We did.
Those of you that don't know, I was a schizophrenic patient that thought he was Teddy Roosevelt. But it came across so well that I ended up having to sing the American national anthem
Yes.
while dragging a dead body across the floor. Now,
I think this was so surreal. It was.
Airdrie Town Hall has never seen anything since or before like that. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know, I'm going to go Santa Claus. I think I'd be a good Santa Claus. Maybe when I'm older.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Yeah.
When you're older, I feel like you've got like old man syndrome then. It's fine. Like.
I'm definitely ahead of my time a wee bit with this.
Right. So I'll ask you the same question that I asked Jack earlier, Lisa, to finish off for you. If you could give one piece of advice to anybody that is looking to come into the industry, start out, directing, acting, whatever, what would it be?
Perseverance, I would say. I know it sounds very basic, however, I will explain. I think you've got to take what you can, so if you're offered any experience, you're offered some advice maybe as well, or you find a job that's maybe not what you expected, go with it. Just go with it, because if I hadn't accepted everything I have so far, I wouldn't be here as a director, producer, writer, whatever. All these are, it's such a creative place that you can be jack of all trades and all that. But I don't mean that in a bad way, but just keep going with it. Don't give up, because there were so many times on my journey, which I'm still to this day, sometimes I'm like, what, am I doing the right thing? But if you just persevere with it, you'll find your niche, you'll find your work.
Brilliant. I'll flip it round, and you guys can ask me questions to round off. Since I've basically grilled you for an hour and 26 minutes and 12 seconds.
Okay. My first question is, what's the best play or production you've worked on?
Oliver.
Okay.
Oliver.
When was that?
I've done it twice. So I done it when I was in Colin School's. Well, both of them have been Colin School's theatre group.
Mm-hmm.
So first time when I was 16, going on 17, I played Bill Sykes in one night and I played Fagin in the other.
I love Fagin.
And so did I. That's one of my favourite parts, and it's the one that I still get compliments about. And I've played a lot of roles in my very short career that I had. Well, say career, I never got paid for it. But Fagin was the one that everybody liked. I preferred playing Bill Sykes because he was an absolute arse, and I love doing that because I like to think I'm not like that in real life, but I can be.
No, I totally get that. You can have fun with it.
So I played it twice. So I played it when I was 16, and then I played it when we were doing the Fepophilia. Because that was kind of...
Do you know, I still can't say that title to this day, but I loved being in it.
Yeah. So I got asked to do that again off of Colin with his theatre school because his words were, no one can play it like you can. And I thought he was a bit biased because it was me. But I was like, you know what? One last time, why not? And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was brilliant. The kids were so talented. They were such a great work ethic about them.
Good.
Colin's a brilliant director and a wonderful friend. A lifelong friend now. He taught me so much, and I'm really forever grateful to him. He was fantastic. And that's the role that if I had the chance to do it and I was the right age to do it in a proper production, you're damn right I would be there. I would love to just do reviewing the situation. I always loved it. It was fantastic. Anything else?
If you had the opportunity, would you get back into acting and writing and things like that? Because I know you said that you gave it up a while back. Because obviously it didn't go the way you expected and things. Would you ever consider going back into it?
Yeah, there was a lot of reasons behind kind of why I left acting, and I always made sure to say that it was left rather than gave up, because giving up implies that you threw in the towel and you quit, when really I had to leave for the sake of my mental health.
Which is a healthy choice, yeah.
It was too rough a go, and I had a major inferiority complex. I felt like I'd busted my butt so hard, and what I never felt like I got any kind of tangible gratification and reward for it, and at that point I just thought, what is the point?
Yeah, why am I doing this?
I'd lost all my motivation. If I could go back on the stage, if the right role came along, or if what things were different, then definitely I'd go back. I would definitely go back. Right now, I need to focus on being a husband and being a father. Because that's the most important job for me, is looking after my boys.
And this, of course.
I love doing these things as well, because I can do them on my own time. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. There's no pressure.
The only pressure I put on is myself to make it good.
Yeah.
Would I love to go back? Yes. But I would need to wait until I felt ready, or I felt like the boys had maybe their own interests and weren't as dependent on me.
Yeah, do you know, I think that's really healthy though, genuinely, because I think a lot of people in the creative industry think that if they're taking a rest or a break, it's an interesting point, they think that they've failed, when actually no, like, you need that time. Like, you have holidays in like an office job or whatever else you're doing, so why is it not the same in the creative industry? I think it's quite an interesting concept, actually.
I always think that the creative industry is a bit like the medical profession, where if you take too long a time out, half of what you've learned is obsolete. And that's been 6 years since I've performed on a stage. My last production was the Steamy.
I love the Steamy.
So that was my last production. And I loved it. I only got the part because Peter decided he wasn't going to do the play. So thank you, Peter. But I loved doing it, and it was
Peter's
great.
getting a lot of love in this podcast.
Oh no, Peter, you're still a wanker.
He's going to be like, thank you.
But I loved doing it, and I thought it was a good way to go out, because I'd been doing stage work for 20 years at that point. I thought that was a nice round number, a nice way to go out. I would go back. I definitely would. And I've got a couple of projects lined up.
Oh, good.
But not for me to go on stage to do
Producing though, isn't
do
it?
producing, directing, writing,
Amazing.
things like that.
It's great.
So one day, definitely. We'll just wait and see what happens. Any other questions?
No, I think we're okay.
Yeah. Oh no, actually, one
there's
more.
One more.
Right.
If you could play any Shakespearean character, and I mean anyone, who would it be?
You can't say Yoda.
Oh man.
Oh, because the Empire Striketh Back.
Oh man.
Has to be a legit one. Sorry, Jack. Like.
Sorry.
I'd have to go Jar Jar Binks. Because I think anybody could do better at Jar Jar Binks.
That's probably true.
No, I'm only kidding with that guy. I feel sorry for that guy, I really do.
I meant best.
I have to say, I would love to give Don Pedro another crack.
Oh, what a throwback!
Oh,
Yes.
much ado about
nothing.
I loved my character. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Why?
Yeah.
Is that not what you and
no.
Kaylee worked together?
No, I
on?
liked your character.
Oh,
My
okay.
character was a bit.
Were you
Well,
not,
if I just to
shocked?
come back to Peter for one last time, if he's listening to this show, I remember doing that with Peter, and I was playing Friar Francis, right?
Yes.
And Peter had no idea, even though he'd read the script a couple of times, like what a friar was, and he turned around and the line was something like, I'm probably butchering it.
Not unless you stand before this friar.
Yeah, stand
and he
before
just
this
constantly
friar.
burst out laughing.
And he couldn't get it out of his head that there was a guy
No.
frying chips in the background.
Yeah, because the first couple of times we all laughed and we all had fun, and then when it got to about the 7th time, the director was ready to strangle him.
Yeah. But I couldn't. But I was the same. I couldn't stop laughing either.
I
Yeah,
feel so sorry for that director.
yeah, I remember that. But yeah, if I could, I would love to go back and have another crack at that.
Yeah.
What? I'm always about like reliving.
Yeah.
And redoing things. What? But honestly, if I got the chance to be in any Shakespeare play again, I would jump at it. I think that was when I was at my creative peak.
Aye.
Doing Shakespeare, because it was a real challenge, and I'd never done it, and I was quite scared because I wanted to do it and I wanted to do it well. And yeah, the fact that two of the lecturers were commenting on it one a week after and one a year after when they saw me. Well, I must have done something right.
Yeah, exactly. Aye, like a proud moment kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Completely.
like, yeah, nice one. Right, so I think we'll come up in time with that one. I've really enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed getting to catch up with you both.
I know, I was going to say it's been such a nice
It was
catch
fun.
up as well. So
Yeah.
we were talking about how long it's been. Like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. It's been fantastic, and Lisa, I really appreciate this.
Oh no, thank you for having me. This has been great.
Yeah, and well, I know you're going to do great because you've got the right work ethic, you've got the right attitude, you've got the right people behind you. What, and I just hope.
Jack's like in the background being the
But,
janitor,
yes.
like thanks mate.
Yes, that was a subtle nod to the lackey over here. In the corner.
At least you've accepted your title.
Yes,
like.
that's true.
At least say gopher.
No, lackey.
Yeah. But I really do appreciate it, guys and girls.
No
obviously.
worries.
Well, that's just a general term that I don't want any woke people going off at me for saying guys.
Just say people. Thanks, people.
Thanks everybody for being part of my madness yet again. Well, just don't forget me when you're all famous and what.
I'd be like,
Yeah,
who's
all that
that?
stuff.
No.
The black. Didn't you used to have ginger hair? Right. So until next time, everybody. This is Andrew Durning.
This is Jack.
Beep. And Lisa McDonald. Woohoo!
Saying take care, stay safe. Bye bye.
Catch you later.
Catch you.